Good morning, everyone. My name is Devashish Deo, coach of soft skills and life skills. Today, Team Soft Skill is going to teach you about how to prepare an effective profile, how to make it an impressive one so that the recruiter is going to have an interest to go through the document. In my previous session, I have already taught you about what is the basic difference between a biodata, a resume, and a curriculum vitae. So today we are going to cover up how to prepare a profile. Now I am still not taking the name a resume or a CV or a biodata. Why? A profile is a comprehensive name which comprises of all these three things. Specifically, if it is a target oriented towards a specific field of work, it is a resume. If it is a general detail of a candidate, then it is a CV. To some extent, biodata we are not going to cover today. Why? Because it is a biographical detail of a person. In the present context, we are not going to use biodata. So let's go for understanding how to prepare a profile in an effective way. So let us understand the thing in a practical manner. I'd be giving you examples so that you can understand it through practical means and through practical understanding too. Well, when we consider a human body, it is also divided into three parts: the header part, the body part, and rest is the footer part. The same concept goes while preparing a profile in an effective way also. Consider the three important points: the header, the body, and the footer. Now comes the importance. Well, obviously head part or the header part creates a major importance. It is the face of the record. So once you are going to prepare the header part, my dear friends, there are certain things to be kept into account, and today I am going to let you understand about that header part only in an effective way. I'll be covering some part of the session. The rest of the part of the session will be covered by my colleagues Mr. Kallol, Kumar Mahapatra, and Mr. Amlan Patnaik. So they would be describing you in details about the different phases. It would be initiated by me. I'd be initiating to some extent, and I'd be giving the charge to of my friends. So as I have said you, that header consists of the important priority. It is of first priority. It creates a good impression. In yearly, now let me take you to the yearly days. 80s and 90s, wherein people used to prepare a profile, they used to give a big block title called resume, curriculum vitae, aspirant's profile, review, all these things. Nowadays all these things have become complete out fashioned. If you give all these things, it takes us back to that olden time when people used to give a title like resume, CV, profile, and aspirant's review. So we are going to discard that one. So what to be kept at the top, and what would be the starting line of a profile? The starting line would be your name, your full name, to be written in block capital letters and to be highlighted with bold. So you are going to write your name in bold capital letters. Next to that one, your address, maybe your permanent address, maybe your correspondence address. Next to that is your telephone numbers, and in this case I would be just telling you, add a primary number of yours which is getting access to every calls, and that is your primary calling number. The second number that you would be keeping, the second number would be any one of your father, maybe your brother, maybe your sister, maybe your uncle who stays in the city and is well aware about the job environment, the job scenario and all, so that at any point of time wherein you are missing a call from the recruiter or a message from the recruiter or a mail from the recruiter, in an alternative the other person may inform you regarding the same. So that is really very important, that you should keep a secondary phone number. Coming to the last point is all about your email ID. Make a professional email ID. Don't make a unprofessional email ID. Most of the people, they used to make a unprofessional email ID with their nicknames, with certain other things adding to that one, like rockstar, popstar, 007, James Bond, all this sort of things. So I'd like to say that that creates a very negative impression within the minds of the recruiter, that you are not a professional person, rather you are a very unprofessional and childish in nature. So for those who are your friends, your family, your relative, your colleagues and all, you can keep some separate mail ID, but for a recruitment purpose, but for a job purpose, try to make or try to create a specific mail ID which is specially designed for that purpose, so that any mail, any sort of message or any sort of offer regarding any job comes to that, you could easily identify that one. And my request, don't use your professional email ID for any sort of online shopping and all. Most of the junk mail gets into the inbox, and it is really very difficult to find out which is the most important mail. So keep it separate only for the purpose of your job interviews. That's my suggestion. So these are the 4 points which you have kept in the header part. Now coming next is that in header part, certain times there are certain points which are optional, like your correspondence address or your permanent address. Let us before that one, I'd be saying you that in my previous session, in my previous video, I have already said you about the page balancing and the page alignment. So in the page balancing and the page alignment, I have just said you that the first page from starting point to the ending point, and the second page from starting point to the ending point must be well balanced. Otherwise, it gives a negative impression within the minds of the recruiter. And certain other times also, I have just said you that the first page of a profile creates a very first impression. If your first page is not very impressive, then the recruiter is not going to turn to the next page. So certain important data which is required to be kept in the first page should be kept in the first page, like your career objective, your educational qualification, working experience if any, and the most important, which I am going to highlight right now, is the professional education. If you have not mentioned your professional education, what extra you have done apart from your education, what practically you have learned apart from your education, what sort of implementations you have done practically apart from your education, if you have not mentioned, like your training, your internships, your projects, and certain things like your implant trainings. If you have not mentioned, then certainly it gives a negative impression to the recruiter that if you are a fresher, the recruiter will take you as a complete fresher and will think that this fresher is not having any sort of knowledge about the practical scenarios. So that is very, very important to be kept in the first page. And somehow, because of some reasons, your that professional education part in the first page is not remaining due to space management, and it rolls to the next page. Certainly what will happen, it will create not a very good impression in the minds of the recruiter. The recruiter, if they feel good to turn the next page, then only they can see what is written in the professional education. If they don't feel, then certainly they would be missing that one. So to bring back that one to the first page, optional thing is that one, that you can skip your address part from the header and take it to the last page, wherein you are giving your personal details or your personal desire. So that is a optional. If you have kept it in the beginning, you are not going to keep it in the personal desire. If you have not kept it in the beginning, you can keep it at the personal desire. So the header part now reduced to 3 points: your name in full with block capital letters, your phone numbers, and your email ID. So it is an optional. I have just said you that you can adjust it according to the space management that you are having, according to your data that you are going to present in the document. So header part is clear up to right now. Now let's move on to the body part. In the body part, there are certain things which is very, very important, and the body part covers your career objective, the most important point is your career objective. Most of the people, they used to copy the career objective from others. They used to take the help of Google. They used to take the help of their friends. They used to take the help of their elders, their seniors, what they have written, what is the best line they have written. They used to copy that one. But let me just tell you, my dear friends, that copying a career objective doesn't makes you to be your own. Most of the time it is a HR question that the recruiter may certain times ask you, tell me something, what about the career objective you have mentioned in your profile? And if you are not well prepared regarding that one, it is an insult to you at that particular point. You would be remaining complete silent, and the recruiter can understand that you have copied it from somewhere. So, my dear friends, the suggestion which I would be giving to you is that refer everyone's career objective, how they have written. You may also go for Google search to check it out, that one. But try to write the lines which is your own lines, so that at any point of time, if anyone is asking you about that one, at least you have an idea of presenting that one in a proper manner. So the career objective, how to write a career objective, I'll be going with that one. So career objective should start like this. Note down 3 important questions for career objective. The first question is like this, that what is the objective of your career? Why you have chosen a career to become an engineer? Why you have chosen a career to be a management student? Why you have chosen a career to be a marketing student? So why you have chosen a career in different field of work, in different branches? So why you have chosen a career in different branches? You are going to highlight that one. That is the first line and the first important statement to be mentioned in a career objective. The second question goes like this. What is the objective of choosing this particular company? Why you have chosen that particular company only for your interview or for your job or for your first platform to work with? Most of the people, they don't mention this statement. But there is a HR question related to this, my dear friends. Why you are so much interested to join our company? Most of the people, they get fail in that one, because they don't know what is the appropriate answer to that one. Let me tell you the answer of that question, so that you can get to have an impression what to write in that particular statement and how to make your career objective an impressive one. Because your career objective is not only a career objective, my dear friend, it is the answer to some of the best HR questions. So try to mention your career objective in such a way that you are fulfilling the recruiters certain important basic HR questions. So let me come back to the question, why you are so much interested to join our company. Here you need to match up your core skills, your core potentials, your core abilities to the requirement of the company. For example, the company requires a design engineer and you are really very strong in the field of designing. Certain designing softwares, the company which is requiring you have the expertise in that one. So match up that one, that I, being a design engineer, I have learnt about design engineering and my skill sets today matches to your job requirement. And this is the first best reason why I'm so much interested to join your organization, so that I could explore my skills and so that I can utilize my skills in a practical platform wherein I can showcase my abilities and potentialities. So these are certain lines which I have said you in a jumble manner. But whenever you are writing it in a career objective, you have to write it in an organized way, that what is the objective of the candidate in joining our company. The third question goes like this. What is the objective of the candidate in choosing a particular field of work? Why you have chosen a particular field of work? Why you have chosen a specific field of work? What is the objective regarding that one? There are different fields, like for example, designing may be a field, production may be a field, manufacturing may be a field. For civil engineers, it may be constructions, it may be surveying, it may be estimation. So for other branches of engineering as well, for other branches of management as well, for the branches of marketing as well, why you have chosen a particular field of work? What is your interest in finding that particular field of work to be the best field for you? Now it shows your passionate interest towards that particular field. So match your answer to that one and write it down, that why you are so much passionate to join that particular field of work. And once you combine these three questions, my dear friends, you will be surely getting the best career objective. Let me just give a simple line description about a career objective so that you will be understanding that one. Seeking to work in a company wherein I would be working out with whole of my potentials, abilities and skills in the field of designing. Now this is a career objective which you have just started with seeking a position in a company. Today I'd be explaining you certain restrictions for writing a career objective. Like, career objectives should not be started with the lines like I wanted to do like this, I am really strong in the field of this, I like to work in a company wherein the output would be like this. So all this statement gives a reflexive statement that you are more concerned about yourself, you are more selfish than doing something for the company. So don't use this sort of words. Instead of using I am, this, that, there. So all these are the terms which are really very negative to be used in the starting of a career objective. So instead of using this sort of terms, you can use the terms like seeking a position in a company or to seek a position in a company. Like, you can start with some prepositions, you can start with certain articles. So this is the right way to describe your career objective. So now I'll be coming to the point that career objective is of two types. One is a specific career objective and the other one is a generalized career objective. So what is a specific career objective? A specific career objective is an objective which specifies for a particular field of work and your passionate interest towards that one. When you are specifying your passionate interest to a particular skill of work, to a particular field of work, that is called as specific career objective. Generally that type of career objective is used in case of your resume. But a generalized career objective is that one wherein you are writing a general statement, like to seek a position in a company wherein I would be utilizing full of my potentials to the optimum potential level. Now this is a general career objective. You can use it for a design company, for a manufacturing company, for a surveying company, for an estimation company, or for a marketing company, or for a management organization. So this is how you have represented yourself to be very generalized. And a generalized career objective can be used in case of uploading a profile to any job portal or to the placement cell. That means I am concentrating right now about the curriculum vitae or a CV. A CV is a general detail of a candidate. So the profile's career objectives should also be generalized instead of very specific. Okay. So these are certain things which I have said to you up to now with regard to the body part, the starting part of the body. Rest part of the body is to be explained by my friend Mr. Kallol Kumar Mahapatra, and he would be explaining you in details from academic qualification onwards till the next. And let's see how he is going to explain you. So over to you, Mr. Kallol. You can just continue and take part of it.
Well, good morning everyone. My name is Kallol Kumar Mahapatra, and today we are going to discuss about how to prepare your profile. So as Dev sir just completed your career objective and how to write it down, I am going to move forward with academic qualification. So as the format that has already been given to you, in that format you can see that everything is written in bulleting format. And while preparing the bulleting sketch, the first point it is written BTech, and then after 12th or plus 2, then after 10th or matriculation. So let me clarify you one thing, that how to mention your educational qualification while preparing your academic qualification paragraph. Remember one thing, that starting from your 10th or matriculation till now means till your recent qualification. In between that period, whatsoever qualification or whatsoever education you have undergone, everything you are going to mention it, but in a higher to lower sequence. Suppose after 10th I have done plus 2, then after plus 2 I have done diploma, then after diploma I did BTech. So my sequence would be first BTech, then after diploma, then plus 2, and then after matriculation. And while mentioning in your profile what are the extra things you are going to add, let me tell you. So while preparing it, so as you can see that BTech in the bracket there it is written the branch, and straight right to that your session would be there. Session means from which year to which year you just completed your BTech or diploma or plus 2 or 10th. Then along with it your institution's name should be there, and your board or university name should be there, and along with your marks or percentage or CGPA. Then below that same goes for plus 2 or 12, same goes for diploma, and same goes for matriculation. Many times student used to get confused that whether they need to mention their marks, CGPA or percentile or not. Let me tell you one thing. Suppose in 10th, one student secured like 85%. In plus 2, suppose it is reduced to 64%, and in BTech it became like 7.5 CGPA. So you can see that it is not in a proper order, and whenever any person or any recruiter would be watching this or seeing your profile, if you are mentioning it, then obviously it is going to create a very negative impact, because it is not in a proper, like your career graph, it is not a very what you can say, proper order. So if you are having this kind of career graph, better that you should skip your percentile or CGPA what so you are having. Okay, after your educational qualification, the next heading is your working experience. And let me tell you one thing. At first, your working experience should get counted if and only if you are having more than 1 year of experience. It can't be get counted if you are having only like 8 months or 9 months of experience and you are going to put it in your CV or resume. It is not allowed. Only and if and only if you are having more than 1 year of experience in a particular sector, that working experience would be get counted. Now coming to the things that you are going to write down in the heading of working experience. So as it is in the format, it is written that position held, job profile, then working period, right? So according to that, presently working with or already worked with or worked with, along with your name of the organization and in the city you are working in. And after that, position held means what was your designation in that company while you were working. Then job profile means what were the roles and responsibilities you are having while you are being in that platform. And final thing is working period. Working period means from which month which year to till which month which year you worked in that particular field. Okay, regarding working experience, I would like to add one more point, is that suppose I'm a BTech graduate from mechanical engineering, and after completion of my engineering or after completion of my BTech, I joined a particular company, and I joined there as a designing engineer, and more specifically my work is there in CATIA workbench. Suppose I worked there for like more than 2 years, and then after I thought that okay, let me change my company or let me switch the company, and in the next company also I wanted to work in designing and same CATIA workbench. So at that point, if I am preparing my profile, so at that point my working experience should be getting more priority rather than my academic qualification. That means I'd be writing or I would be mentioning my working experience just after the career objective, and then after I would be adding the academic qualification. After working experience, we are now going to discuss about the professional education. In professional education, many kind of training programs are getting added. Like here in CTTC, we are providing a lot of training programs. Those training programs, it is a part of professional education, because here what you are learning, it is the completely practical modular training program which we are providing, and that can be added in professional education. Along with it, any kind of internships if you are undergoing throughout the BTech, because in BTech it is mandatory that in throughout the BTech career every student should undergo at least 3 internships. So internships can also can get added in professional education. Along with that, in-plant trainings also can be get added, or any kind of workshops, if any kind of other institutions, if they are inviting you and you have been a part of that kind of fests or workshops, all these kind of things you can add in professional education. After professional education, the next heading is that professional proficiency. And in the format you can see that under professional proficiency we are having 4 subheadings. So the first point is computer skills, second point is software proficiency, third point is technical skills, and the fourth one is leadership skills. So let's talk about the first point, which is computer skills. Regarding computer skills, what the computer knowledge like Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Internet, all this kind of things means the computer basic knowledges, it can be considered as computer skills. So those who are having this kind of skills, they can add in computer skills. Coming to the software proficiency, let me take one example of MCC course. So here in MCC and in that course we are learning a lot of softwares like AutoCAD, CATIA, Creo, SolidWorks, Hypermaze, which is now getting called as your Mastercam, ANSYS. So all this kind of softwares we are learning. So regarding this kind of softwares, this can be considered as software proficiency. Except these softwares, if you are knowing any more softwares like C, C++, Java, Python, Photoshop, or any other extra softwares, those software also you can mention. But remember one thing, while preparing the CV, you are going to mention each and everything as previously discussed. But while preparing your resume, make sure that regarding the notification that you are getting from the company, suppose you are getting a notification or the notice is that the company which is coming, it is only hiring the candidates which are having the good hands in SolidWorks or Creo. So if you are knowing extra software, so those softwares may or may not help you to crack the interview. So in that case, you can just skip all those softwares which is unwanted at that particular situation. So after software proficiency, we are having the next subheading, that is technical skills. So here in this subheading, what the things you can mention is that, suppose I'm giving an example. Here in MCC, we are learning a lot of designing skills or designing softwares. Apart from that, we are learning CNC simulation, CNC machine operation, lathe workshop, along with that production technology. This kind of things, what is we considered as technical skills. And in civil, total station or estimation, surveying, analysis, all this kind of things is called as your technical skills. So regarding that or accordingly, you guys can mention your technical skills here in this subheadings. So after technical skills, we are having our next subheading, which is called as leadership skills. So here in this subheading, what the things you guys can mention, let me tell you. So here in this format, it has already been mentioned that any leadership quality leaded during your academic or training period, like participation in sports and athletic activities, organizing blood donation camps, like this kind of things, if you are ever been a part of or you have leaded the things, that those things you can mention in this subheading, like you have been a part of any kind of NGO blood donation camp, or you have been a part of any social committee. This kind of leadership qualities if you are ever having. And along with that, if you're in your annual functions or annual sports or annual group activities you have ever been a part of, or you have been any kind of in a club member or secretary or president, this shows your leadership qualities and hence you can mention it in this particular subhead. After professional proficiency, we are having another main heading which is called as projects undergone. So here in this main heading we are having two subheadings. First one is project title and the second one is project outline. So here whatsoever projects you have done till now, so all these projects you can mention. So how you can mention? First thing is project title, you have to give what was the name of the project, and after that project outline. In project outline, no need of describing it in a very enlarging way, right? Because only 4 to 5 lines description about that project will help it. In that description, what are the things you can mention? Let me tell you. In that particular description, you can tell about the utilization of the project, what is the importance of that project, and a short description about your roles and responsibilities while being a part of that project work. Till now we learnt about the preparation of the header part, then after we moved to the body part. In body part we covered career objective, we covered educational qualification, we covered working experience, we covered professional education, and after that we covered professional proficiency along with the projects undergone. After that, to move further, our next faculty Mr. Amlan Patnaik would be heading towards it.
Good morning everyone, my name is Amlan Patnaik and I am a soft skill trainer. And now, as so hope you guys are all good and safe at home. So like the previous session guys, we are back again with the video focusing on how to prepare your resume. Before that, I would like to thank Mr. Dev sir and Mr. Kalul sir for continuing the session so far. Now moving further guys, let me add some more points to what the term as your project undergone guys. Now what happened guys, if you go with the resume, the having the same project that your friend has given or your friend has made the project. Now if you go the same part, the same context, if the recruiter gets impressed by your project, and if he asks you regular questions on that part, the first question the recruiter may ask is all about your project title. Even if you are lucky fortunate to answer the question, you will be answering the name of the project. The next question may happen that the question should be like, tell me something about your project. Now you know about the project outline guys, you may tell that part, but till now you got your luck with yourself. But now something out of the luck. Now the recruiter, if you find that yes, your project is something related to the job profile you are applying right now, the recruiter may ask you the next question, can you briefly tell me something about the project? Now here the problems comes out guys. So it's a suggestion like whenever you'll be going to a recruiter with your resume, make sure that have a complete idea about what is your project, what are the things you have made in a project, so that when the recruiter is asking you a lot of numerous questions regarding the project line, you can answer one after one. Fine. So moving further guys, the next heading is all about your accolades. Now this term has a meaning called as your achievement guys. And now this has two subheadings, such as one is your scholastic achievements, the other one is your post-scholastic achievements. We'll be moving further one by one. So now discussing about what is the term called as scholastic achievement guys. Now these are some sort of achievements or ability that you have or you have went while you were in some sort of school or colleges or in some sort of working place. It includes terms like the scholarship, or if you went with any sort of inclusions for high grades, awards you won for any sort of specific activities, subject or fine or awards you have won, or any sort of students related achievements you have won, or simplest as normal people used to get like a perfect attendance seat for the entire year. Now these are some of the terms that has been included in your scholastic part. Now if we define about what is your core scholastic guys, it have a lot of other meaning, a lot of other terms that is being used. Like now what is the term called as core scholastic? Now this has something called as an overall idea of or the overall improvement of a student. Like as we know, normally go for debate or discussions or exhibitions, sometimes we go for model presentations, sometimes we go for the magazine write steps or preparation of charts and models, sometimes we go with essay writing, sports, dance, drama, photography, and lot many more guys. Now these are some of the terms being used in your post scholastic. Moving further, the next is about your personal skills. Now that is something, it has divided into three different parts like subheading. The first is your strength, the next is your hobbies, and the third is your interest guys. Now if we divide about all the three parts and we discuss about one by one, the first subheading is about your strength. Now strength has two different meaning guys. The first, in your normal life, is all about a physical strength, but the strength we are discussing right now in your resume is all about your responsibilities or the abilities that you have relating to the job you are applying for. Now for example, what could be the best strength a person can have for the resume part when you used to go for an interview? For example, if you have some sort of creative ideas, if you have a strength of going for creativity, if you have an idea, if you have a strength like you are very good sort of motivator, you can motivate people, if you are a self motivator. For example, some other terms like if you have some sort of resilient sort of factors, if you have a adaptable sort of factor, if you can communicate clearly with different people, problem solving skills. Now these are some sort of terms that helps a person to gain lot of strength regarding the job profile. Now how job profile is being related to the strength guys? Simple. Whenever a person, the recruiter is asking you about the strength, it signifies that yes, can you handle yourself under pressure? Now tolerance is also a part of a strength a person can have. Now these terms will be helping the recruiter to find out yes, now that you are the perfect candidate for the job we are applying for. Fine. Now moving further guys, the term is your hobbies and next is your interest. Moving further with what do you mean by the term hobbies guys? A major questions comes to the recruiter, from the recruiter to the candidate. Can you differentiate between hobbies and interests? People have lot of doubts regarding these two part guys. What is hobby? What is your interest? Now if you tell that sir, cooking is my hobby, okay fine. Now when the recruiter is asking you what is your interest, you do not know the answer. The thing is, you people get confused about what is the differentiate between hobbies and interests. But here we'll be making completely clear what is hobby and what is your interest guys. Hobby is something related that you do regularly in your free time, or if when you think that yes, I'm having a free space, I can do something that you love to do, that the time when you want to spend something which will be giving you some sort of joy, some sort of fun. Now that is called as your hobby, guys. But when we tell about something about the interest, now this is something called as occasionally comes out. Like you have a feeling of your concern, you're curious about to learn something. Now this differentiate between what is your hobby and your interest. Some example about the hobby. For example, a recruiter may ask you about hobby, what are the hobbies? You can list a lot of things. But guys, make sure now this is the heading where the recruiter can ask you a lot of questions regarding this part. For example, if you tell us gardening is my hobby, the next question the recruiter may ask you, okay, can you tell me around 4 to 5 names of plants that you have in your garden? But you do not know the answer. So make sure that before you give your hobbies or your resume, you have to have a backup answer regarding your hobbies. Now moving further towards your interest. Now interest is something that you do in a for your learning. Like if you want, it's a occasional, it's a curiousness that you have to learn. Fine. Moving forward, guys. Now the next heading is your personal desire. Then the first subheading is your date of birth. Make sure that you have to mention your date of birth at first and then your father's name. But one more important note, add a salutation in front of your father's name. For example, Mr. So and so on or Shri so and so on, because it shows that you respect your father. Now what people used to make a mistake, but why? Before making this personal desire, they used to mention first the father name, the next is your date of birth. Now that date of birth simply indicates your father's date of birth, guys. Do not make confused, do not have a confusion in this part. Make sure the first subheading is your date of birth of yourself, next your father's name. Then next to that we have your permanent correspondence address. But here guys, you have to be a bit more focused. Why? Because in the first header part, as you know that we have mentioned the address. So if you have mentioned your address at the top of the header part, no need to mention it towards the last. Simply you can add the next that is your nationality, that is your Indian. Further moving, the next subheading is your language proficiency, guys. Now this term has important part, like what are the language you know for your job. For example, people used to mention 3 sort of languages. The first is your Odia, Hindi and English. But do we know, guys, what is the main sequence of writing the language? The first is your mother language. Next to that is your national language, guys. Now that is your Hindi. At last you need to mention the international language, that is your English. Apart from this, if you know any other language, for example Telugu, Tamil, Malayalam or Gujarati or any sort of other languages, make sure that there is 3 more different words you need to write. For example, read and speak are 3 different parts. After writing a language, if you can read or you can write, mention that Telugu in bracket, read and write. For example, you cannot write but you can speak. In that case, simply you mention Telugu in bracket as speak. After that, here we end up the body part, guys. Now the last part, that is your footer after the body part, that is your declaration, guys. Now declaration is something that ends your resume. I hereby affirm that the facts and details stated here are all true to the best of my knowledge and belief, further proof of which will be provided or produced as and when demanded. Now these 2 sentences have a lot of meaning, guys. It simply shows that the whatever facts you have written all above from the header part till the body part is completely true, and if the person is asking you for any sort of proof, you have the right proof for everything. After that, the next 3 part, a small part, that is your date, place and the last is your name of the aspirant, guys. Simply at last towards your right, there is a heading, there is a footer part, we have name of the aspirant. Simply type your name, and while you give your resume to a place, give a signature on the top from your own handwriting. Next thing coming about your date and place, what we people make a mistake, like whenever we prepare the resume, we need to mention date and place at the particular time when we have prepared it. For example, right now if I am in a place called as Raipur, and if right now I am preparing my resume here, I used to give date as the date I have prepared today and place as your Raipur, and I have my interview after 5 days, that is like in Bhubaneswar. Now when I'll be going there, I have to rechange again that date and place. So make sure that if you know about the exact date of interview, you need to place your date and your place name near to that part. For example, you went to Bhubaneswar on 28th of April. So make sure that on 20th, in place of your date, you need to mention 28th April and the place is Bhubaneswar, or the place where you're gonna give your interview. With this, we'll be ending up the entire session, guys. Thank you for listening, and thank you for everyone. Thank you. Have a good day.